Don't you find it's always the games that you played when you were really young that really stick with you for life? Like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, Resident Evil, wait a second. Yeah, I don't know why my dad let me and my brother play Resident Evil 2 when it was clearly not suitable for kids, and I was definitely afraid of there being zombies behind doors for ages.
Don't make me open the door, I don't want to open the door.
Too late now, I guess. As I've started doing with games that I review, I streamed it live here and on Twitch, so feel free to give me a subscribe and a follow if you want to watch me scare myself to death in the future. Haha. I didn't know that one was coming. Get off! Remember to leave a like and a comment if you want. And I've also just set up a Patreon, so if you want to help support the channel, go and check that out. Let's join Leon and Claire as they enter the survival horror.
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil 2, known as Biohazard 2 in Japan, was developed and published by Capcom in 1998 for the PS1, and no offense, but the European and Japanese covers are way better and scarier than the American one. The game begins with a quick recap of the events of the first, which is essentially Jill Valentine and Chris Redfield, members of the Special Police Force STARS, were investigating spooky goings-on in a big creepy mansion on the outskirts of Raccoon City, where they found the big evil pharmaceutical company Umbrella was developing the T-virus, a bioweapon that by now has transformed most people in Raccoon City into flesh-eating zombie boys. The game is on 2 discs, with Leon Kennedy's story on one and Claire Redfield's on the other. I decided to play as Leon first because that's who I always play as, don't at me, I know it's not canon. And we join Leon as he's making his way downtown, walking fast, faces past, and he's police station bound for his first day on the force. He comes across a body in the road when he becomes surrounded by zombies. He bumps into a sprightly young biker chick named Claire, who's in Raccoon City looking for her brother Chris. The pair head off in Leon's police car towards the station, believing it to be safe. Stupid fool. Just when they thought things couldn't get any worse, a petrol tanker driven by a newly zombified truck driver heads straight for them at high speed. Leon and Claire jump out of the car just before the truck crashes and explodes, leaving them separated by a wall of fire. Deciding it'll be safer to meet up again at the police station, they go their separate ways, and we are dumped straight into the action in a fast-paced and potentially deadly introduction. The controls are the classic tank controls we know and love. Ugh. Where pressing forward sends Leon in the direction he is facing, rather than from the perspective of the camera, as you can't run and shoot, and are slowed down somewhat by the speed at which Leon turns. This control scheme really adds to the tension of the game. It can be difficult to quickly get around sharp corners, but the stress and thrill of pulling an amazing escape is almost worth it. Almost. The game also has fixed camera angles, which, love them or hate them, allow the game to have really beautifully detailed backdrops for the PS1 era, and environmental effects such as fires and blinking lights really stand out. Shooting is performed by holding the aim button and pressing the action button to let rip. You can also aim up to try and decapitate enemies for extra fun. Oh! Okay, that was stunning. Or down to shoot sleepy zombies that decided now was a good time to take a nap. In the first section though, you shouldn't really need to shoot too many zombies, as tempting as it is. And besides, ammo will be limited, with less ammo available than you would need to kill off every member of the undead, making you have to consider with each enemy whether it's worth the payoff of having less ammo in the future to have a clear path now. I ended up at one point with nothing to fight with besides the crappy knife. I'm not good enough at controlling Leon for this. Leon runs along the abandoned streets to a gun shop, where Kendo, the owner, apparently thinks you're a zombie, even though you clearly used a door handle. I don't think the zombies are that smart. You pick up some ammo when zombies smash through the windows and devour Kendo for their dinner. Yummy, yummy. Making your escape, you run through the back alleys of Raccoon City and reach the police station, where a gorgeous main hall with a giant marble statue in the center greets us. A desk with a computer and an old typewriter lay behind, where the latter can be used to save your progress. That's right, in this game you can only save your progress at designated locations with a limited amount of ink ribbon available throughout the game, making you think twice about saving if you've maybe saved too often, as you really don't want to be in a position later on with the inability to save your progress.
We ain't saving yet, that would be pathetic.
While dying and having to redo potentially large portions of the game can be pretty annoying.
I actually died.
Well, guess we're starting again. It really does make you focus more on how bold or how cautious you should approach certain situations, whether it's okay to risk running past a group of zombies, or better to put them all down to avoid any risk of death. I feel like a lot of the time I did try and just shoot them all down because, yeah, I'm not very good at avoiding them. Exploring around the hall, Leon finds only one unlocked door, behind which lies the severely injured police officer Marvin, who tells Leon to leave him be and help rescue other survivors around the police station. He gives Leon the computer keycard and forces Leon out, locking the door behind him. Seems a bit sus to me. Leon unlocks the other 2 doors in the hall, and we are faced with the first proper decision in the game. Do we go left or right? The police station is split into the east side and west side, with corridors, staircases, and doors leading to a whole multitude of rooms. Traversing around an empty, ornate police station, with zombies potentially around every corner, can be overwhelming and stressful at first, not gonna lie.
There's gonna be zombies in here as well. Maybe another time.
But with the presence of these locked doors with playing card suits for keys, the game does a great job of limiting your actual exposure while giving you the feeling of true exploration and setting your objectives in the form of keys to find. Let's take Leon left first. The reception room holds an item box, which brings me on to another great useful feature of this game, sarcasm. Your character has limited item space, within which you need to hold your weapons, ammo, healing items, and any other important items that you need, greatly influencing the way in which you play the game. Do you want to be extra safe and bring 2 or maybe 3 weapon types for whatever you might face? Do you need extra ammo? How many healing items do you need, if any? Should I take this weird item I just found or leave it for later in case I find something more important? Item boxes can be used to dump items you don't want to carry with you, and items in the box can be accessed from any other item box, and they are generally found close to typewriters, so baby, dump that useless ink ribbon. Carrying on, we catch a glimpse of something scuttling quickly past the window. Probably nothing, right? Leon stumbles upon a decapitated body and sees broken glass and blood dripping from the ceiling, and the culprit reveals itself to be a victim of that fog that turns people inside out from The Simpsons. The liquor is the result of a zombie mutation, leading to a creature with an exposed brain, no skin or eyes, giant talons for fingernails, and a characteristic long lizard-like tongue it can attack with from a distance. Blind but with high noise sensitivity, the liquor's attention can supposedly be avoided by simply walking instead of running and avoiding any broken glass, but baby, I don't have the time for that kind of relaxed gaming crap. Die, die, die! Herbs are one of the main forms of healing items in the game, and, as with everything else, are limited. Your health drops from fine, to yellow caution, to orange caution, to red danger, followed by death. A green herb can increase your status up a level. Herbs can also be mixed, which helps you out twofold. They take up only 1 slot when mixed together, saving you precious space, and they can sometimes give you added benefits, where green and red herbs mixed together fully replenish your health. Blue herbs can recover you from a poison state, and first aid sprays also exist, which fully replenish your health, but at a cost of lowering your ranking at the end of the game. But honey, to be honest, we're just trying to survive at any cost. I'll be using the spray, thank you. Exploring around the police station, we come across readable notes, which usually contain some contextual story information, but also sometimes useful things like the codes for locked safes. Hey, we got a map with all the doors color-coded for the keys. Amazing. Leon also encounters a bunch of puzzles, another classic Resi hallmark. Usually, they're not too difficult. Light the fireplace to burn this picture to reveal a red gem, push the 2 statues onto these buttons so they face each other, push these 2 bookcases to reveal whatever the hell this weird chess piece thing is. Most of the puzzle items are quirky trinkets like these, and the police station supposedly used to be a museum, which would explain why this place is decked out like a giant antique shop. God, creeping around the police station can be pretty horrible, in a good way, with the slowly opening door animations and deliciously awkward camera angles. Sometimes, when I couldn't see how many zombies there were, I would find myself just listening out for zombies and blindly shooting off camera, which mostly worked, if ending up bleeding my ammo supply out completely. The sound effects in this game are great. Gunshots pop, the squelching and moaning of zombies pacing slowly towards you are disgusting, and the menu bleeps and bloops are just beautiful. The game also has some fantastic music, with a lot of piano and orchestral music, especially during the police station sections, and some more synthy electronic pieces further on into the game, matching the more modern backdrops. time. There's also some dramatic operatic singing during the boss fights, like, just listen to this. Who's singing? She's so good. The game also has some fantastic moments of surprise and subversion, with some scenes only occurring on certain playthroughs. Some of my favourites were this bit where you place 2 red jewels in a socket to receive the king plug, and you expect the skylight above you to just shatter as a liquor falls down, but it just doesn't. Super chilling. Another moment was walking into this interview room with a one-way mirror, expecting something to happen, and when you walk out unscathed, you just know that when you go into the other side, oh boy, there's gonna be a surprise waiting. The game definitely does rely on some jump scares, which I don't think is a bad thing, as they don't happen overly frequently, but enough to keep you on your toes and keep that feeling of dread lingering in your brain. Also, I found that all the jump scares I already knew about still made me bloody jump out of my skin.
Why did that actually make me jump?
Leon bumps into Claire in the STARS office before the pair promptly split up again, and it's becoming clearer and clearer that something else is going on here. Leon comes across a crashed helicopter, how the hell did this get here? And bumps into our old pal Marvin, who by this point has been transformed into a purple putrefying zombie with some excessively dramatic music.
This music, too much.
Creeping around the basement of the police station, Leon crosses paths with the mysterious, inappropriately dressed for a zombie apocalypse Ada Wong, who is supposedly looking for a journalist named Ben, locked up in the station's cell somewhere. Leon puffs up his metaphorical feathers and pushes a van to impress her, allowing entry to the super creepy basement of the station. Honestly, the basement. It's okay now, but later on it gets filled with liquors, and this section in the morgue can do one. Leon and Ada find the reporter, and Ada reveals she's looking for her boyfriend John, who works for Umbrella, but Ben weirdly just wants to stay in the cells, claiming there's more than just zombies crawling about, when a loud roar can be heard.
What was that?
Leon and Ada head over to the sewers to try and come up with a way out of the city. Leon tries flirting again, but Ada's having none of it.
I don't think I've introduced myself yet.
She's too good for you, Leon. Get over it.
Ada mounts Leon, don't take that line out of context, to climb through an air vent to try and find a way of escaping. And the player takes control of Ada in a small section of the game. It's pretty basic. Ada goes off, solves a box pushing puzzle and finds the club key. Passing it to Leon, Ada has to find another way back, and Leon continues on his quest. With access to more of the station, Leon returns to get a cogwheel. These corridors flood with even more zombies, and Leon gains more chess pieces before sliding down an old dust chute because, you know, why not?
Super fun happy slide!
Landing back in the basement, Ben is attacked by a creature just out of shot with a lovely eye for an arm. Reaching Ben's cell, Leon learns that the chief of police is in cahoots with Umbrella, and a gross alien-esque creature rips out of Ben's chest and scurries off. Ada suspiciously runs off to the chemical plant where she thinks she might find John. Okay, that's definitely sus if you ask me. Heading further into the sewers, Leon encounters the grown-up version of the disgusting thing that ripped out of Ben. This boss fight was kind of annoying, where the monster would release mini creatures that try to bury themselves into Leon's flesh, but stamping on them seems to do the trick, and the monster is gone soon after. Placing the chess pieces into a control panel, Leon unlocks the door further into the sewers and comes across Ada once more. He scolds her for running off again, and she promises to stick with him this time. Sorry, mister. However, not long after, she starts getting shot at, and Leon, being a disgusting simp, saves Ada's life by taking a bullet for her. Once again controlling Ada, we go off after the culprit, a Karen who wants to see the manager. Annette Birkin, the wife of William Birkin, the creator of the T-virus. Annette tells Ada that her boyfriend John has become just another zombie, and she proudly and stupidly lets slip that the G-virus has ravaged her husband, mutating him into the horrific creature that is stalking around the police station. Apparently, the Birkins don't understand the basics of intellectual property and claim Umbrella tried stealing the G-virus away from Will, even though he was developing it for them in their labs. Literally, get a lawyer. Umbrella's SWAT team moved in to recover the G-virus, and getting hit by a bullet, William decides to inject the G-virus to save himself. Rats scurrying about the floor inadvertently picked up virus material and spread the infection throughout the city. Uh-oh, that can't be good. We get some hot lesbian on lesbian action.
Oh, go on, Ada. Yes. Punch her in the face.
And Ada flings Annette off the edge of the balcony.
Ada says, no, women are not allowed inside.
God, this game is campy. Like, it's so over the top and melodramatic. I love it.
Too bad.
It's good to see you're still among the living. Sorry, but it looks like your party has been cancelled.
Leon wakes up and makes his way through the spider-filled sewers. He blows up an absolute unit of an alligator and meets up with Ada. The pair take a Skytram, whatever the hell that is, through to a factory section, to then take them to another random obscure piece of public transport. Some kind of vertical train thing? I don't know. Halfway down, Ada gets bitch slapped by a giant monstrous arm.
Well, that went straight through her brain.
And Leon goes to investigate, finding the humanoid creature from your nightmares that is William Birkin. And you have to admit, he looks pretty freaky with a face halfway down his torso. He's a bit tough, but is eventually downed, and making it to the labs, Leon leaves Ada to recover and goes off in search of something to heal her. Babe, literally what about all the herbs and first aid sprays we have left? Literally just give her some of those. I've always thought the central tower part looked amazing, metallic and futuristic, but also giving an old, rusty, dilapidated feel to it. The further into the game we get, the less the game is about slowly exploring and unraveling, and the more it is a linear, fast-paced, action-packed race to escaping. We come across some wacky Little Shop of Horrors plant creatures that spit acid, but no thank you. Some buff naked zombies that are beefier versions of their normal counterparts.
Literally put the clothes on.
Green evolved lickers with even bigger talons. A giant moth, I don't know why that's here. And vaccine machines. Not 100% sure if I trust an umbrella vaccine. Leon logs himself as a staff member onto the computer and puts his fingerprints into a panel, but the door won't unlock until a second staff member adds theirs. I don't know. Annette is apparently somehow not dead and dares to show her face and claims Ada is only there to steal the G-virus for her secret spy agency. Leon, being the absolute cuck he is, calls Annette a liar before summoning the earthquake gods to get her crushed to death.
Well, she got what was coming to her.
Just as Leon picks up the G-virus, a self-destruct alarm activates.
The self-destruct sequence has been activated.
Oh, not this.
Ada shows up and tries to take the G-virus off of Leon.
Annette was right.
Of course she was right.
In an actually pretty emotional scene, Ada gets shot from behind by Annette, who slumps to the floor for the final time, and Ada falls off the balcony ledge, Leon grabbing her by the arm to try and save her, but it's too late and she lets go.
Well, she ain't getting any deader.
Back to work.
Leon throws the G-virus over the edge to end it once and for all. A 5-minute timer for the self-destruct sequence activates, and an even beefier version of Old Will makes an appearance here. Blasting him a few times, he then mutates again into a razor-mouthed four-legged creature. God, these transformations are so cool. He pounces on Leon and tries ripping him apart, but is no match for Leon's magnum. No, not that kind of magnum. Leon runs to make it to the emergency escape train, finding Claire and this weird girl.
Are you okay?
I'm alright.
Yes, I'm fine.
Not you.
The facility explodes dramatically, and Leon makes his last beta-like comment.
Goodbye, Ada.
The credits roll, and we get our ranking. C will have to do, and the game prompts us to save for the final time, but what's this? Claire B? Oh, that's right, you didn't think this was over yet, did you? You see, once you complete the game as one character, you get to play as the other, completing the other half of the story and tying up some of the loose ends. So, let's have a look, shall we? Claire Redfield pulls up into Raccoon City on a flashy motorbike
I'm finally here.
and enters a diner because she's feeling a little bit peckish. However, instead of some tasty treats, she finds a weird old man having a meal of his own. A meal of human flesh. Leon saves her life and etc yada yada. The car blows up and they get separated. Claire somehow makes it to the police station 100 times faster than Leon. Like, does he even know where it is? The game starts equally stressful as with Leon, with lots of zombie boys. We get a nice cutscene where a stranded cop tries to get rescued by a helicopter, but stupidly fires straight into the cockpit with a machine gun. Claire just ignores the crash and goes inside the burning building. Her hunt around the police station is similar to Leon, with some of the same keys to unlock rooms, but enemies often placed entirely differently to mix things up. Oh, and that time in Leon's game, that nothing smashed through the skylight? Surprise! She also has the joy of being stalked by a man, but this ain't no ordinary man. This is Tyrant T00, lovingly referred to in the fandom as Mr. X. He appears at set times, often blasting through walls to get to Claire. He's extremely tough and can deal devastating blows. He's also often entirely optional to fight and can simply be avoided by going through the door to another room, but the benefits of taking him down can be big, where a large amount of ammo can be recovered. But unfortunately, he just refuses to die and shows up again and again. Off. No means no. And remember what I was saying about subversion?
Okay, that was too easy. But it's okay because he's dead now.
Claire receives some different weapons to Leon, such as this weird bolt rifle crossbow thing that I really didn't get on with it, and this grenade launcher with 3 different ammo types that I did get on with. Die! Claire bumps into this girl being chased by a zombie, and entering this weird stuffed animal stuffed office, comes across Police Chief Irons and the zombie-bitten corpse of the mayor's daughter. Wow, good job looking after her, mate. Claire sees the young Sailor Moon cosplaying girl again, who tells Claire her name is Sherry, and that her parents worked for Umbrella. An unseen creature is stalking her, and she runs off scared. Claire hunts around the station some more, finding some colourful stone tablets. Also, thank God I had some forward thinking as Leon left this machine gun and extra backpack space for Claire. Sherry also has her own little playable bit, which is almost exactly the same as Ada's, with the same damn box puzzle. Like, they could have shaken it up a little bit. Also, instead of normal zombies, as Sherry obviously doesn't have a weapon, the zombies just throw up, and it's a simple case of just staying the fuck away from them. Eventually heading back to the chief's office, Claire inserts the stone tablets, and a secret door is unlocked. Instructing Sherry to stay, Claire heads down into what can only be described as Chief Iron's weird kinky torture chamber sex dungeon. The chief has clearly gone insane and complains about Umbrella ravaging the town, even though he literally let them. As everyone in this game loves explaining the plot, he tells Claire all about the G-Virus, William Birkin being the weird monster stalking Sherry, who, yes, is his daughter. He conveniently gets pulled into a trapdoor and his torso spat back out. Claire goes to investigate and finds an early mutation of William. Honestly, it's pretty cool seeing him undergo his transformations at different stages. Whoever designed them is so good at their job, well done. He did kind of batter me to death the first time. I just couldn't work out how to get Claire back up after she fell over. Oh my god, literally get up? Moving on, Claire and Sherry head into the sewers, where Mr. X is still stalking Claire. Sherry gets sucked away by the current, good job. You could have not done that. And Claire bumps into the injured Leon and fixes him up. Making it to the weird Skytram thing, Claire finds Sherry again and asks her about the G-Virus, but Sherry has no idea. Sherry is a bit annoying in that if you run off too far ahead, she gets scared, but she does also hold on to Claire's hand when they're standing still, which is so cute. This bit where Claire looks into the monitor and sees Mr. X heading her way is a great little bit of tension building. On the vertical train, Claire takes on a thick version of Birkin before dropping down an air duct and listening to Sherry being taken away on the train. Bye! Claire eventually makes it down to the labs, where she has a pretty similar experience with plants, zombies, lickers, moth, but this time, when she logs herself as a staff member and enters her fingerprint, the door unlocks, and her prize is a group of lickers, yay! Also, an extra set of machine gun rounds, so, you know, not all bad. Annette shows her face and pretends that she gives a shit about Sherry, and they watch on the monitor as Mr. X creeps closer and closer towards her. Annette reveals that the G-Virus sample is in the pendant around Sherry's neck, and Claire heads off to rescue her. Sherry tosses Claire the pendant and escapes down an air vent. Throwing the pendant into the pot of molten lava, Mr. X follows it to his doom, much like Gollum. Fool. Unlike Gollum, however, we see him clawing his way back out. Can he just please die? The self-destruct sequence activates, and Claire goes to make her escape. She finds Sherry cowering over her mum as she finally passes away. Leave your dead mum. She's gone now.
Go home to your mother.
Sherry!
Oh, sorry, you don't have one.
The pair reach the escape train, and Claire hunts around to try and activate the power. Plugging in some cables, a super powerful, more hench, literally on fire Mr. X jumps out of a pit of lava and full on destroys Claire. Like, wow, this bit was hard. The other boss fights were mostly just fine, just shooting and avoiding attacks, whereas this was something else. He was super fast and his attacks vicious, often getting Claire stuck and suffering multiple attacks one after the other. Eventually though, a mysterious figure in the shadows that is definitely not Ada, because she's dead, right? Haha. Drops a rocket launcher down to Claire, and Claire blows up Mr. X to smithereens for good. Racing it back to the train, a bunch of zombies caught me by surprise and killed me right at the end of the game. Can you not? Okay, fine, let's redo that again. Getting on the train, Claire sets it going and Leon makes an appearance, jumping onto the train just as the building explodes again. However, it's not over yet. The train computer system alerts them to the presence of a biohazard outbreak, and a 2-minute timer activates before the train carriages start blowing up sequentially. Great. William Birkin makes his final appearance as a giant, angry butthole with eyes. Literally, who designed this monstrosity? It edges slowly closer and closer to Claire, but not before she annihilates it, turning it into a gross purple puddle of ooze. A final movie sequence plays, showing that the blob is somehow still alive. Sherry decides she can drive the train by herself and activates the emergency brakes. The trio bolt it and make it out of the tunnel just as the train explodes, blowing up Birkin and ending the G-Virus for good. The credits roll and we get our ranking. D, how did I do worse this time around? Well, that's that done. Honestly, no wonder Resident Evil 2 is one of the best remembered and most loved games in the series. The characters are iconic, the locations are iconic, the monsters are iconic. Creeping around the police station is chilling, and making your escape at the end is thrilling. It's definitely one of the scariest horror games out there, even to this day. Kind of because of the weird camera angles and old-fashioned controls, but also because of the creepy music, the dread-inducing sound effects, and the unpredictableness of what you're going to find behind the slowly opening doors. The remake from 2019 is also incredible, but I think both games stand up on their own. And if you loved the remake but never played the original, you should definitely check it out, even if it's just to see how far the series has come. But yeah, there's Resident Evil 2, one of my most favourite games from the PS1, and one that still scares me to this day. Well, time to do Claire A, Leon B. Ha ha ha. I'm joking as if I have the time for that. Remember to tune in next time I go live. Check out the links to my socials and Patreon in the description. And feel free to come and join the Discord server if you want to talk about games. Honestly, it's mostly just me going on about how good Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets PC game is. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.
Should be safe inside here. Why do I have to play as this brat? Get off of her! Where's the consent?
Too bad.